teachings from Maimonides, Jewish law, the crown that we just spoke about, right? The oral tradition, that is the woman of valor, crowns her husband, right? Woman is recipient of the man, the giver. The 5 books of Moses is the giver. The recipient is the oral tradition. The giver gives a seed, and the recipient gives a fetus with male and female reproduction in the synthesis of Torah. The Torah is written in very short form, and the long form is the oral tradition. Where is that oral tradition and what we're doing now? Rambam. Right. What's it based on? What does it always have to come back to? Has to come back to the seed, to the source, the giver, the husband, the written law, right? So it always has to be congruent with the written law. But this is the oral tradition that is now teaching us. Okay, we're in the laws of Gzela V'Aveda, chapter 16. We're specifically learning the laws of returning lost objects. Just that notion alone, unbelievable. Finders keepers, losers weepers is not a Jewish idea. You find something, not necessarily you can keep it. It could be. It depends. Basic idea is, if there's a way to establish its owner, then you have to, back in the day, you'd have to wait 3 holidays that pass by, 3 regolim, and to announce it, so that people should come and get their lost object. Now you would do it just in your community, and the person who lost it has to give simonim, signs, identifying marks, to prove that it's theirs. So you can't say anybody lost a silver Rolex watch that fits the hand of, such and such size, because then anybody can come and say, yeah, it's mine. We'll prove it. Well, it's silver. It's, no. So if someone lost a watch and you need to give the identifying marks that would be appropriate. Now, we went through those laws yesterday. Now, is not everything, though, you have to return. Sometimes finders keepers. Yeah. If there's no identifying mark, right? If you found a $10 bill, if I found a $10 bill outside, right, I don't have to return it to anybody because there's no way someone can identify it. Exactly. Unless their name was written on it, or not a name, or maybe something was written on it, but if there's nothing written on it, no identifying way, right? Also, it's in the public domain. It failed. The person gave up hope on it. It's one of the cons, right? If you gave up hope on it, so then it's not theirs anymore. It's ownerless.
That's what happened to me. Remember, I found $10 on the floor, and then there was a religious guy. He came afterwards, and he said, "I lost the bill on the floor. Did you see anything?" So I gave him the $10, but momentarily it was mine during the time that I found it, because it's the public domain.
So
it was my choice if I wanted to give it to him.
Halachically, you probably didn't have to give it to him by the pure law, but appropriately, yes. Because he came specifically and said that I lost here a $10 bill, right? Yeah. All right.
You know that during the moment that you got it, you're obliged to give maaser on it, meaning even you give it back to him, you still are not absorbed with the maaser of having found
If it became yours.
exactly temporarily.
Yeah. All right. Halacha number 1. The following laws apply if a person finds needles, spits, nails, or the like. If he finds them one at a time, he may keep them. Why? Because there's no way to identify a needle, right? If he finds them in sets of 2 or more, they're sets. So a person can give an identifying mark. I lost a set of 3 needles. That's an identifying mark, right? But just one is not, that's not an identification. Oh, 3, 5, they came in a set, so that would be identifying, right? Aha. Okay, this is an instance that it looks like they were placed purposefully. They weren't lost. In other words, a person placed them there. If you found them if you found it on the street, then no, you don't have an obligation. Why? Because that person for sure gave up hope. But gave up hope. But they were placed, you found it on a fire hydrant, right? A set of 3 needles. That means a person purposely put them there. So therefore, he's aware of it. He didn't give up hope, that means. He's hoping to come back and get it, right? So you're obliged. You're discovering a number of articles found in is a mark by which they can be identified. Similarly, if one finds scattered coins, he may keep them, right? Because they're scattered. Person gives up hope. Even if some of the coins are lying on each other, they're considered scattered. If, however, one finds a collection of coins, he must announce the discovery. For example, if he found 3 coins placed one on top of the other, like a tower, or there was one to the right and one to the left and one on top of them, right? Or they were placed in succession, each one lying slightly on the other, so that if the sliver of wood, rather, were placed under them, he would be able to pick them up all at one time. He's obligated to announce their discovery, right? Because they were placed there purposefully. The person didn't give up hope on it. And that's key over here in these instances. A person gives up hope, that means it's ownerless. That means you have no obligation to, right? We're talking about obligation. If you still want to, you could, beyond the letter of the law. We're not talking beyond the letter of the law. To go beyond the letter of the law, you need to know first the letter of the law. Right? This is not about be good, feel good, be a goody good shoes over here. This is about learning what are the parameters of the law. Okay? So if they were placed in a circle, a line, or like a tripod, like steps, the matter is one of doubt. Therefore, at the outside, one should not take them. Why is it a doubt? They're not certain whether the formation indicate that the coins were intentionally placed there. It's not so clear. If a person finds money in a wallet or an empty wallet, he's obligated to announce its discovery. If he found a wallet with money scattered before it, he may keep the money. If, however, it appears that the wallet and the money belong to the same person, and that the money fell from the wallet, he must announce its discovery. Why do you have to announce the wallet and not the money? How come? No. Because of money, you could give a sign. It's black. It has 3 compartments, right? A money you could a wallet you could identify. Money you can't. If you placed it, so that means you placed it there purposefully. That itself is an identification. It's also you didn't give up on it. The wallet, I could identify it. So I lost it. I didn't give up on it because I know I could identify it. Clear? Now the money that fell out of the wallet, maybe it's from two different people. Now, it sounds maybe a stretch, but maybe it is. If it looks like it came from the same wallet, so then you're obligated to announce both things. Right?
Like for obviously if the money was in the wallet. Then
Yeah, money's in the wallet, then then it's part of the wallet. Exactly. Fascinating. The following rules apply when a person finds money in a store. If the money is found between the counter and the storekeeper, it must be given to the storekeeper because it's close to the storekeeper, it's probably his. If it's found on the counter and needless to say, if it's found on the outside of the counter, it may be kept by the finder. Because remember, money, what's money? No way to identify it, right? It's just scattered there, right? So therefore, right?
So let's say you're in a cash and there is on the floor in the side of the client money on the floor. That's yours. It's not somebody lost it from one of
Right.
the people were paying.
Yeah. One of the
It's
clients.
not, it doesn't belong to the merchant.
Because there's no way to identify it. Again, beyond the letter of the law, you could, someone comes up to you, hey, I lost $10 over here. So, right. But because the law is that person who lost it has to give identifying marks. How could they prove that that $10 is theirs? They don't know the serial number,
Yeah.
right? Oh, it's got William Mackenzie King on it. Well, every
Sometimes they don't
$10
even
bill
know
or whatever it is has.
Sometimes they don't even know the amount.
Right.
I had an experience where the person had lost a few $100 bills. He didn't know how many $100
Right.
bills.
But so the point being, if he knew the amount of $100 bills, we learned that by the needles, right? That then so therefore that's an identifying mark because it's how much, right? I lost 9 $100 bills. Oh, okay, that's what I found, right? In other words, the person who can't give an identification is has no proof that it's theirs, and therefore it's the finders, right? By the hard facts. The hard fact, that's the hard fact. Again, you want to give that, you can do that. We're not talking about what you could do beyond the letter of the law. Okay. Why does the store not acquire the money on behalf of its owner if you found it in the store? Because the store belongs to the owner, right? So it's there because it's not protected courtyard. Only when it's in a protected courtyard can you say that money that was found on my property, no one else can take it, my property. But it's not considered what we call the protected courtyard because it's public. So therefore, he doesn't have that merit of his property to acquire for him. That's another halachic principle, right? Therefore, even though the owner was present to acquire the money, the owner would have to say, may my store acquire it on my behalf. So he would have to say. So for example, if it happened like this, there was a $20 bill on the floor over there, and I was about to go and pick it up, and it's on the floor, right? And the owner of the store, before I picked it up, says, may my store acquire it for me. It belongs to him and not to me. Even though I went to pick it up, I got it before, right? Because acquisition is made not just by picking up something. Acquisition is also made by your property can acquire something. So if he said it before I went and picked it up, the store owner keeps it. It's his. Why? Because that's a principle in Jewish law about acquisition. That money was ownerless. There was no way that it could have been returned to its owner by halacha, right? Because there's no sign to it. There's no indicator that who it would belong to. If it was a stack of them, and that would be an indicator, an amount of them, that would be an indicator, but it was just one. ownerless. But the storekeeper can claim it. May my store claim that for me, and I picked it up a moment later. It's his, not mine. Fascinating, unbelievable. Okay, love to continue. And that's it for now.
Thank you, Rabbi.